joined now by Karen Hines, the Vice President of the Cassie Hines Shoes Cancer Foundation, a shared Detroit-supported charity and nonprofit. Thank you for being with us today.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Tyler.
Appreciate having you on. So first, tell us a little bit of a background on your organization and kind of where the origin of it began, and also, of course, the services that you provide.
So you probably noticed my last name is mixed in with the organization's name.
Yes.
And it was started after my daughter, Cassie, who was a young adult when she was diagnosed with cancer in 2008. So she was a junior in high school and was diagnosed with a rare form of kidney cancer. And at that point in 2008, there really wasn't a whole lot available for young adults. So she her first 2 years in treatment, and with kidney cancer, you don't lose your hair, you don't look like a cancer patient, but you feel like one inside. So she struggled a lot emotionally with what was happening. Although if you were her friend or her family member, you probably didn't know a whole lot about that. And about 2 years in, she really struggled, and her social worker encouraged her to go to a young adult survivorship program. It was Can't Make a Dream in Montana. And she met some other young adults her same age that were going through the same thing. And they didn't sit around in kumbaya about cancer. They really just had a great time together. It was the first time in those first 2 years of cancer that she felt normal. So that was kind of where the seeds of the organization started. Cassie passed away in 2012. And that year before she died, she had said, I want to make sure that every young adult that's diagnosed with cancer knows that there's stuff available to them and that they can find it pretty easily. And she also loved the state of Michigan. So she said, and if you have it with, if you're real excited about this, you could start a program in Michigan as well. So we didn't really think we'd get to that point, but we certainly knew we were going to do everything we could to make those young adults not feel alone. And a young adult by definition is 18 to 39, although there's an AYA community, so that's adolescent young adult, and that's 15 to 39, and that's who we support.
So what are some of the resources that are provided through the organization to help support those adolescent young adults as well as the young adults that are interested in your services?
So the very first thing that we always suggest to anyone is we have an information bag that's available in all the hospitals and treatment centers in Michigan, or you can go online and order one. And in that information bag, there is some trinkets. There's a magazine by Elephants and Tea that's specific to young adults. There's Triage Cancer has some great support for legal things, going back to school for those college people, going back to work, those kind of advice for young adults. And then there's also an envelope full of all of the programs that are available. So first you want to arm yourself with information. Depending on where you are in your treatment will determine what kind of information that you use. So we sort of give it all to you. And whatever's not in that bag is also on our website. So if you're in the beginning of treatment and you need some financial support, you need maybe a wig, you need, you want to join some kind of a virtual support program so you can meet some people, but you're not getting out of the house, you're sick, you're in the hospital. There's different conferences that are available. There's also some private one-on-one chat stuff through various programs. So everything that's available is in that bag. And then once you get to finished with treatment, then you start looking at survivorship. And we often say once that final bell is rung, then that's when the real treatment begins, because that's when you have to learn how to live in your normal life. And that's where the survivorship programs come in. So there are 5 or 6 different places across the country, organizations that host programs that are anywhere from 4 to 7 days, where you'll meet some other people your age around the country. And depending on what program you're interested in, they're either high adventure or all the way down to more yoga and mindfulness. But you're in a house together in a small group. Usually they are 8 to 12 or 15 people in a house. You live together, you share meals together, you do these kind of during the day adventures together, and then you come back at night and just rest, laugh, eat, talk, become friends. And, those programs are typically free. getting there is not. So one of the things that we offer for other programs around the country is travel. So once you're accepted, you can go on our website, apply for travel, and we'll pay for your flight to get to those programs. And then we also have our Base to Summit program, which is in northern Michigan in Grand Traverse County. We rent a house in Interlaken. They go kayaking, hiking, that sort of, northern Michigan kind of stuff, and then come back to the house. We're on a lake, so do some water sports there and kind of just hang out.
And so obviously the educational resources and other resources that are being provided by your organization to these young adults battling cancer are critical and are very important and are helpful, especially to those that are new to this battle and are trying to find their footing outside of just the everyday struggle of battling their cancer physically. But these experiences are also such a critical part of what your organization provides to these young adults. How did that experience that Cassie had at Camp Make a Dream in Montana help to inform both the need for these kinds of experiences for people that are dealing with these kinds of battles, but also the design of these programs and the impact that they're aiming to have on these young adults?
So when Cassie went to Make a Dream, honestly, she was terrified of going in the first place. I think she just wasn't ready to really meet other people, but she knew she needed something. And Make a Dream is the one that's set up a little bit different. They have, I believe, up to 40 young adults can go there at the time, and they treat it more like a conference. But she just had an absolute blast. My husband and I talk about how when we went to pick her up at Metro Airport, she came down the escalator and there was literally an aura around her. I think it was the first time she felt normal in her own skin again. And then she was searching online for other programs. And the following summer, she ended up going to a program called First Descents. And that's one of the more high adventure ones that I talk about. So at Camp Make a Dream, she met some great people. They sort of formed a bond, I want to say in cliques. Cliques always sound negative, but really they, when you're that many people, you form a stronger bond with a few. But when she went to First Ascents, that was one of the rent-a-house, smaller ones. She went kayaking. So it was kind of a twofold learning for her. Number one, she really got to know a whole group of people. She happened to be, at the time, she was 20. She was the youngest person that was there. Everybody else was more in their 30s. But that age difference didn't make a difference. They were all kind of in the same walk in life. But it also, the piece of the high adventure, when Cassie went there, she did not like water outside of maybe a indoor pool. She didn't like the fact that fish were in the same water as she was. So she's going on a kayaking thing. So we assumed she's going to grab a book and sit on the shore and wait for them to come back. And we just kind of chuckled about it. But she went and they first taught her how to use a kayak, how to get out of the kayak. And then by the end, she was on a class 4 rapid. So it really taught her to trust her body again, which was super important, because this body, when you're, 18 and diagnosed with cancer, that you're supposed to be invincible at that point. And her body had failed her. And so she needed to trust it again in a different way. And that's one of the personal pieces that brought for her. Just, I can do these things again. I don't have to be afraid of something terrible happening to me.
We're joined by Karen Hines, the Vice President of the Cassie Hines Shoes Cancer Foundation, joining us on the MegaCast. You can learn more information by visiting CassieHinesShoesCancer.org. So Karen, for those that are interested themselves or have a loved one that may benefit from these programs, how can they sign up to participate in these programs or take benefit from some of these programs through your organization? And for others that want to help, how can they best help?
So to find out about the different programs and our own, you can go onto our website. There is, right on the main page, there's a section that'll talk about programming. Click on that. It'll take you to a page that has all the different programs. And those links will take you directly to their websites to learn more about what program fits for you if you're a young adult. And then, like I had mentioned before, there's also a spot in there for information back. So if you're early on in treatment, you can just click on that, and that'll give you some of the support that you need early on in your treatment. Most of the programs, you do have to be out of active treatment. So that's why I mentioned the difference between the two. And as far as supporting us, the first thing that we always talk about with everybody is that um, it's an awareness piece. Really, it's letting people know. Everybody knows somebody who has, been diagnosed with cancer at a young age, under 40, and guiding them to sort of a place where they can find a fit for themselves is really the most important thing. We do have, fundraisers. You can always donate. I mean, that's pretty standard for nonprofits. But, as the awareness director, I'm all out there just trying to make sure that there isn't a young adult that's diagnosed with cancer that doesn't know that there's opportunities available for them to get to just grab onto their own life again and celebrate that beautiful life.
And so, Karen, I also understand that in March you have your annual gala coming up. If people want to attend, what can they expect to experience when they do attend this event? Where can they get tickets? Where and when will it be held?
So our gala is March 12th. It's at the Palazzo Grande in Shelby Township this year. We typically sell out pretty quick. Our tickets go on sale this Saturday at 10 a.m. There is information on the website. If you are interested in sponsoring a table, sponsorship tables are available now, and then the individual tables are for everyone else, those are available on Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. And that night, it's actually a blast. I mean, the beginning of the night is some programming, mingling around. It's dinner, open bar. And then we do have a program. We have a guest speaker that comes in. So it's a young adult that's done some programming through us. Then we speak a little bit. We try to keep that short and sweet, and then get down to some dancing and having fun.
We're joined by Karen Hines, the Vice President of the Cassie Hines Shoes Cancer Foundation, joining us on the MegaCast. So you can learn more information by visiting CassieHinesShoesCancer.org or by visiting ShareDetroit.org, as this is a Share Detroit supported charity and nonprofit. You're one of the founding members, actually, of Share Detroit. How has that journey been from being one of the early organizations involved with Share Detroit, with that collective that's raising awareness for so many of those organizations, to now with, as it currently stands, 265 listed charities and nonprofits?
So I met Carly early on before the website even was up and running, and I was just so impressed by what Share was bringing to the Detroit area. In fact, I thought to myself, there's got to be a catch to this, because this is just too good to be true. It's just an incredible organization that gathers together a bunch of nonprofits. And so if you're looking to support financially or with your time, you can jump right on this Share Detroit, pick the things that are important to you, and then it vets out the organizations for you, and it gives you an idea of what's available. For us personally, obviously it's some great awareness tool for us, but we've also gotten some wonderful specific volunteers. Our volunteer, we were looking for a grant researcher and a grant writer. And through that, we've had interviews with some and are having people work with us in that way. So it's just a win-win for everybody.
Well, Karen, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for telling us about the Cassie Hines Shoes Cancer Foundation and all of its great programs as well. Before we let you go, anything else that would be important for our audience to know about your organization, or to be considering, or anything else that we haven't spoken on today you'd like to talk about?
Well, I always like to say why we call it the shoe cancer, because there is a little mix up on that. Oftentimes I'll get people that'll say, like, I have shoes to donate, and where should I? We don't have anything to do with shoes. Cassie loved shoes, and when she was at Make a Dream, she drew a tile that's our pink high top that's a shoe in their art barn. She painted it and wrote across it "Shoe Cancer." And after she passed away, we scrolled on her phone and happened to see that picture, and our logo and title was born from that. So it's been good, because people, when they think of a young adult, if they aren't sure about it, they're like, it was something to do with shoes and shoe cancer. And when you Google shoe cancer, that's what's going to pop up.
And so if you want to learn more information about the organization, again, Cassie Hines ShoesCancer.org. That's Cassie Hines ShoesCancer.org. Karen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.